So what we're going to do today, or in the next couple of lessons, is we're going to build a head in 3D. Okay, so I put in the face front and face side so you can follow along with those, so you have the exact same files to move on with. And these live in computer, public, Maya, and there's a folder called face. Okay? Well, to start off with, to build a face, it's not just you start modeling and then eventually you see what happens. Okay, so you need to kind of topologize the mesh in a certain way. Reason being is because the face, it's very expressive, and everything kind of needs to be modeled for it to move properly. Okay, what I mean by that is, for instance, around the eyes, you see there are loops going all the way around. Yes? That's because the muscles on the eye, if we take a look at this one, all right, so if you look at the muscles, they're kind of going around the eye. Okay, that will help it open up and close better. Okay, so you'll get better deformations around the eyes. Same goes around the mouth. Okay, so you have rings going around the mouth. And you also have rings going from the nose to the chin. Okay, because when you open your mouth, your nose kind of moves as well and everything stretches. So you need to have those loops around it. If we look at this other image, we've got kind of the basic loops. Okay, so we've got loops around the eyes, around the circumference of both eyes, and then from the nose underneath the chin, and the mouth on its own as well. Make sense so far? Yes? All right. Mala, how do we get started? We open up Maya, we create a project. You know how to create projects, yes? So File, Project Window. We're going to create something new, so we'll call this Face. Location is going to be inside Chris V, in my case. Select and accept. All right, so I'm going to open up the folder and start filling in the images into the source image folders. Okay, so I can find them in Maya and I have everything neatly in place. So that would be in computer, Chris V, face, source images, and I'm going to grab the front and side and chuck them in there. Yes, now we're going to go to the front and side and put in the image planes. So import image plane. And this is the front. Turn on look through camera. I'm going to try and get rid of the whites a bit. So I'll just get the color gain and pull it backwards. Move further down. This is on the z-axis, so I'm going to move it backwards, x, y, z, minus 50, and I'll give it a scale of 30. Okay, so that's sorted. We'll go to the side, view, image plane, import image, side, and I'll do the same things. So this one on x, minus 50, scale 30, pull back the whites, and look through camera. Okay, this will make my perspective cameras visible, which are these green things over here. So I'm just going to select those and Ctrl H to hide them. Type. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the mouth. So to start the mouth, I'm going to create a polygon primitive, make sure interactive creation is off, and we're going to choose pipe. Okay, what that creates is basically a pipe. The pipe, I'm going to reduce the amount of geometry that's in it, because at the moment it's a bit too much. So in the channel layer, I'm going to go to Polypipe, and subdivision axis, I'll give it 8. Okay, so from now on, any kind of loops that I'm going to have for the mouth, for the eyes, and anything else, it's going to have 8 subdivisions. Okay, so I know they're going to match up eventually. Did that make sense? Yeah? Voilà. I'm going to delete the bottom faces. And I'm going to grab it, rotate by 90 degrees. And I'm going to move it on top of our mouth. And what I'll do is, I'm just going to start moving vertices around the front axis. Okay, the other side, I'm not going to worry too much about it, because I'm going to do everything symmetrical and then I'll mirror everything later. The only problem is that her face she's got a bit of a smirk on the side. Yeah, so that's going to make things a little difficult for me. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to go to object mode and move it in the side view. Okay, so that's the side view of the mouth. I'm going to grab these faces and delete them, so they don't have extra geometry that we don't need. And I'm going to start moving it from the side view now. Okay, so the front parts of the lips are there. This would be somewhere here. And these guys would be all the way back. Okay, so her face is different in each angle as well. So we're going to have to kind of decide where we want the points to be. Okay, so if I get the corner of the mouth, it's not going to match over here. It's just something to keep in mind while you're modeling. Here we just start moving the lips and trying to find an average that we like. So, what we have so far is this weird shape. So we know the corner of the mouth, it kind of flips inwards, okay, because your mouth it's like a hole inside out. Yes, you have the inside of your mouth and then it's kind of opening outwards. So inside and opens outwards. That's why it's red. So we're going to grab that, move it backwards. Maybe I'll snap it there and move it on. Okay, so if I smoothen it now, we're already getting the curve of the inside of the mouth. Okay, so far so good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror it now, and then I'm going to extrude the edges outwards, so I have more geometry to work with. So we're going to go to polygons, mesh, mirror geometry, -X. Okay, so we've got the lips. Let's see what they look like. And what I'll do is I'll grab the edges by double-clicking, and I'll extrude outwards. Oops. And now I'll start moving these guys around until I get a kind of shape that I like. Right, so the center lines, guys, I'm not moving them from the middle. I move them only by using the up and down arrows, the y-axis arrows. Okay, so like that it stays in the middle, And when I come to mirror stuff, I don't get weird gaps. Make sense? Yes, sir, it makes sense. Okay. All right, so at the moment we have the beginning of a monster. Well, what we'll do is we'll start pulling it backwards on the side view. My spacebar died, I think. Ilalo. Alright, it's working again. I'm gonna delete the side that I don't like and keep on working with it. So technically I want this to be the side and this to be perspective. Okay. And now we can start the process of adding detail as we go along. So I want to add another edge loop going around this part of the mouth. So I can either go insert edge loop tool and figure out where it goes, or else I can grab an edge, press CTRL, right click, go to edge ring utilities, edge ring and split. Okay, while keeping CTRL pressed. Yes, if you do it fast enough, you can start adding edges quickly. Vertices, we'll start moving these inwards. Okay, now we've got something like a fish mouth. All right, till here I think it's fine for now. So over here you've got the cheek as well. So the cheek, you need to start thinking about the contours of the cheek as well. So I'm going to move these vertices so that when I keep on going upwards, it will keep on going up with the cheek. And then goes inwards into probably the middle of the eye over here. Yeah? Well, I'll add another edge loop over here. Okay, that's good. Yes, so what we're going to need is the corners of the mouth. Okay, because around the mouth, it doesn't just collapse onto itself. You see kind of how from here, when I smoothen it, it moves inwards. So we need something to keep the corner of the mouth a bit. And another reason why we need that is because the lip over here, it kind of overlaps. This top part of the lip goes over the bottom lip. Make sense? So what I'll do is I'll insert some edge loops. Maybe something like that, and something here. Yeah, so now we got a bit more of a corner. And what I can do is I can get this vertex over here. And if I smoothen it and move it down, we start getting that kind of beginning of a smirk that the lips usually have. But we'll add that later. At this point, we just need to make sure that everything is smooth.
So, sir, we don't worry about the UV for something.
What do you mean? Why would you worry about the UVs? Let somebody do them later.
When you're done.
When you're done with the head, UV the head. In this case, the UVs are probably a mess. If we check them, window, UV texture editor. Well, they look organized, but I'm pretty sure they're not. Yeah? Here we can give it a bit more plumpiness. And the same over here. Okay. Well, next thing we need to start thinking about is over here, the lips, there's a sharp edge around them. Yeah, so we need to create that sharp edge. The way we do that is by just adding an edge around it. And by smoothing this, we start getting that sharp edge around the lips. We can also add another one over here. And this we can just move slightly upwards and inwards. And the opposite over here. That might be a bit much. So we'll mess around with that later. Now here it's getting a bit too smooth, too sharp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start grabbing these vertices and spreading them out. Okay, so I'll move that one sideways. This I'll move slightly upwards. So I'll take slightly inwards as well. So now we're getting a bit more of a smooth edge. Another thing I can do is I can grab these, maybe not get the inside and the side, and go to mesh and average vertices. Okay, and if I average the vertices, it's going to find an average of those vertices around everything else. Okay, so now everything looks smoother. We can do the same thing over here. So when I do stuff and you just see stuff moving without the mouse, I'm pressing G, which is repeat the last command. Okay, so that's a lot better. I'm going to make sure that everything, all the lines are in the middle, because I've been moving stuff around now. So I'll grab the center line, go to the front view, get the move tool and snap it to the center by pressing X. Turns into a circle and I'll just snap it. I can also scale it down to make sure that all the vertices are aligned. Okay. Now this I can mirror it as well. Mesh, mirror geometry. And we want this on the negative X, apply. Well, you see what happened over here? All the edges I had turned into a triangle, all in one point. That is because when I polymirror, it has a merge threshold. Okay, it's getting the vertices and merging them as well. So what I don't want is the ones which are close together. I don't want them to. I don't want Maya to merge them all together for me. So what I do is the merge threshold. I'll reduce the number. Okay, and it's going to go back in place.
What's the ideal number? Is that what the merge threshold?
It depends on the scale of your model. Okay, the bigger your model, the larger the threshold. The smaller it has to be. Mala, these lips are looking a bit weird, a bit pointy. So what I'm going to do is I'll just start selecting areas and moving them up, moving these guys backwards. These can go down a bit. All right, that's kind of okay. Yeah. Here we've got a bit of pulling. So I can grab these edges, move them down, and maybe push them out a little. Same for the top. There was a Weird Al song, for this as well. Okay, that looks a lot better. This is... okay. So you see what I meant by you need to kind of start averaging out between the front and the side? Yes? Fulfat, she's not kind of matching that much at this point. But for now, and guys, I don't know if it ever happened to you when you select something and then you move it and you move something somewhere else. Kind of something like this, and then you'll be moving these weird objects. Just a little check to know if you're selecting anything else. When you select something, okay, let's do it a bit more subtle. When you select something, move it around and see your tumble tool. Okay, if it moves weirdly, doesn't stay stuck to what you selected, it means you've got other stuff selected behind. Okay. So far, this is pretty much what we want to create. So we don't want to create too much of it, because then what's going to happen is when we start creating the eyes, we'll want edges that are going to go from the face and continue going up to the eyes and into the nose. So we don't want to add those at this point in time. We'll want to add those later. Okay? And what I can do, though, is I can do the inside of the mouth, since there's nothing in the way. And we've got a clear view. Might as well do it now. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to grab the inside loop. I'll extrude it inwards. So I'm not going to extrude it with the extrude tumble tool. I'm going to press W. Okay, the extrude is still on top of this other edge, and I'm just going to move it sideways. Okay, like that, it moves it exactly from the center. Okay, I'm going to scale it down so it becomes fairly flat. And I'll start scaling it upwards. Then I'll go in, get the vertices. And start opening up the mouth sac. So over here, you see this vertice? And we've got this line going down. That is something you don't want. Okay, so what you do is you grab that and move it upward so it goes straight to the side of the mouth. Okay, otherwise the deformation is going to be too much for it, and you'll get some weird artifacts. Okay, let's see what happens when we smoothen. So the mouth is going to open up more now because there's a continuation to it. My God. Hey, lalo. I think this keyboard is gonna start dying soon. Alright. Okay. And I'll grab the edge again and extrude it outwards again. Lalo. Scale it outwards. I'll get rid of this kind of starish look that we're getting. Or Fortuna. Sorry? So when they open their mouth, there isn't just black. And there's going to be her teeth inside as well, and her tongue. And they all need to fit in a mouth sack. Okay, so that's fine. I'll start rotating this slightly downwards. I'll extrude again. Rotate downwards. Scale it inwards. And, and I'll scale it down. Okay, so that's the mouth and going into the throat. Yes, I can go into a lot more detail and do the little bill at the top. But let's try and keep it simple for now. Voila, the mouth, it needs a bit more geometry to support it. So I'm going to go on the inside. I'm going to create an edge loop over here. I'm going to remove these vertices, these edge selections, and scale it downwards. Okay, what that is going to do, it's going to give the lips more thickness. Okay, you see how they kind of start getting closer? So something like that should be fine. And then what you would do is, if you want her mouth to be completely closed, you do that with blend shapes. Okay, when you're about to animate her, you'd start adding the blend shapes so that the mouth kind of closes completely. All right, let me show you blend shapes quickly. A blend shape is a duplicate of your object. Okay, and you go to animation, create deformers, and there should be blend shape over here. Okay, so if I go on this and mess around with my blend shape, and then get a vertex over here, what happens, whatever I do here, affects my model. Okay, so I grab this, move it up, and rotate it slightly downwards, and then smoothen this. Then through its settings, I can mess around with the value of how much it's. Okay, and that's how you get people smiling and doing all weird things in 3D. Okay, but we'll do that some other time. So far, I think if you guys manage to get to this point, we'll be doing well. But we'll add more geometry to it. We'll get the inside of the lip that kind of tilts inwards, and we get these top peaks as well. And we'll get in the middle between the nose and the lips, we'll get that little indentation as well. But we need more geometry for that. So for now, I'm just going to stop it here.